So with that, I think we can go ahead and get started. What do you think, Christina?
I think so.
All right. Well, we're so glad you all joined us today. We have a really fun webinar planned. And just to introduce ourselves, if you haven't met us yet, my name is Dana Bryant, and I'm the Outreach Officer with Volunteer West Virginia. And I'm joined today with Christina Cochran for today's webinar, and she's our AmeriCorps Training Officer. And then we have lots of special guests today on the call. We have Chloe Sockman and Mackenzie Thaxton. They are our summer interns with the Governor's Program. And we've had such a fun summer with them, and they are just about to finish up their internships. So they help us plan these webinars, and you'll see their faces a little bit later today. So that is the staff of Volunteer West Virginia that's on the line today. And we are just really excited to host this webinar series. We started it back in January. And what we wanted to do was just to create a fun atmosphere to explain what we do at Volunteer West Virginia. We also do trainings, networking, and most importantly, we like to have fun. So this is just to help people get introduced to our state agency and what we do. So we have lots of really cool upcoming topics. We just released the schedule about a month ago. So next month, you're not going to want to miss West Virginia Trivia on August 11th. We're going to have prizes and all kinds of fun stuff for that. And Christina moonlights as a trivia host. So this is going to be really good. And then in September for National Preparedness Month, we are going to do Get Ready West Virginia and get prepared for disasters and emergencies, which is so important, but it's easy to forget to do. And then October 13th is Join AmeriCorps. And AmeriCorps is one of the big things we do at Volunteer West Virginia. So if you haven't heard of it, it's going to be a great time to tune in and learn a little bit more about that program. And if you're interested, Christina will paste the address in the chat box of where you can register for those upcoming webinars. And for today, we have lots of fun stuff planned for you. We all had a really good time putting together this webinar. So we are going to be talking about going outside and volunteering. So to start with, we're going to spotlight 5 wonderful places to go outside and volunteer in West Virginia, some of our favorite volunteer opportunities that we love to share. We love all the volunteer opportunities throughout the state though. And then we're going to be doing some volunteer program spotlights. We have 3 special guests that I'll be interviewing. And then to close us up, we're doing a special bonus, which is going to be how you can volunteer and travel. So to get started, I'm going to pass this off to Christina, and she's going to share 5 wonderful places to volunteer outside in honor of National Parks and Recreation Month.
Thank you, Dana. Yes, we have so many topics we love to cover with our Volunteer West Virginia Wednesday series, but we decided on this Get Outside and Volunteer topic in July because it is National Parks and Recreation Month, and we have so many parks and recreational opportunities here in West Virginia. There's so many to choose from, but we decided to highlight these 5 wonderful places in West Virginia to go outside and volunteer. So the first one we wanted to highlight for you guys today is Kanawha State Forest, right outside of Charleston, West Virginia. It is completely beautiful. As you can see from these photos we have, Kanawha State Forest is about 9,300 acres of forest. It actually used to be mining and logging land. I did a little bit more research about Kanawha State Forest before our webinar today. And when it was a coal mine, after the coal mine disbanded, the Civilian Conservation Corps, which is kind of the precursor to AmeriCorps, came in and took out a lot of the coal mining equipment and the tipples and the buildings to make it the state forest that we all know and love today. So if you're interested in volunteering at a beautiful place like Kanawha State Forest, there's a couple different ways that you can get involved. Volunteers help to maintain trails and help with painting and building projects, leading hikes and picking up litter in the state forest. And the best way to get information and stay up to date with projects is to like their Facebook page, which is called Kanawha State Forest Foundation. and we'll be sending these slides out to everyone afterwards, so you'll have access to all of these links. You can also visit their website at ksff.org, and you can contact their volunteer coordinator, Jennifer, at the email address listed. The next organization that we wanted to highlight that can help you to get outside and volunteer is Elkins Make It Shine. Elkins is the county seat of Randolph County, and Elkins Make It Shine was established to bring community pride and volunteering to the town of Elkins, which is awesome. If you've never been to Elkins, you're truly missing out. It is right at the edge of the Monongahela National Forest. Hopefully I said that right. I'm a West Virginia transplant and it always trips me up. But there's so much history and beautiful art to be appreciated in Elkins. So definitely put it on your list. Elkins Make It Shine has volunteers to help paint murals. They build community gardens and really just beautify the town. It's a grassroots organization, and their Facebook group has over 3,000 members, which is really impressive for a volunteer organization. It's a great model for any hometown that might need a little bit of sprucing up. So we encourage you, even if you don't live in Elkins, if you're interested in doing those types of things for your town, reach out to them and see if you can learn anything. You can get involved with Elkins Make It Shine by joining their Facebook group on Facebook. Next up, we have Watoga State Park in Marlinton. So Watoga State Park is located near Siebert in Pocahontas County, and it's adjacent to the Greenbrier River Trail. I've actually never been to Watoga State Park, but it's definitely on my list now after seeing these beautiful photographs. There's a ton of ways to get involved at Watoga State Park or any of our state parks in West Virginia. The best way to get a hold of the Watoga State Park volunteer coordinator is to go to their website at watogafoundation.org/volunteer. And volunteers help with all types of things at the park, like the Dark Sky Project, Park Bench Project, doing trail maintenance, and helping with races and more. Next, we have a really wonderful organization, Deckers Creek, which is near Morgantown in north central West Virginia. This organization was founded in 1995, so it's awesome that they have been helping to improve Deckers Creek for, over 20 years. Friends of Deckers Creek really help with environmental stewardship, including doing things like water sampling, preserving gardens, and maintaining trails for people to enjoy. And volunteers are also needed throughout the year to help with special events. So if you're nearby the Deckers Creek near Morgantown, reach out to them at deckerscreek.org volunteer, and they can get you hooked up with a volunteer gig. Lastly, our next voluntary organization is Volunteer Wheeling, based in Wheeling, West Virginia. Wheeling is a beautiful city along the Ohio River in Ohio and Marshall counties. And as you can see, the Volunteer Wheeling team does all sorts of things. They're pictured picking up litter, painting the curbs, and it's really those small touches of attention that can really make a small town seem inviting and not only make residents proud to live there, but it makes tourists want to come back. Volunteers with Volunteer Wheeling do small-scale beautification projects in Wheeling and the surrounding neighborhoods. And like I mentioned, they do all types of projects from litter pickup to painting and everything in between. And if you are near Wheeling and you'd like to get involved, you can reach out to them on Facebook or visit their website. We realize that these organizations and destinations might not be nearby to everyone. So here are some general tips of ways to get involved with volunteering outside. You can contact your local state park. There's tons of ideas in the chat box. As we brainstormed earlier in our webinar, our favorite state parks to visit. So just reach out to them and let them know that you're interested in volunteering. And I'm sure that they can get you set up in a role that will be something you can be passionate about. You can help out at a community garden, or you can volunteer at a local farmers market. You can organize a neighborhood beautification project, start a walking group in your community, or just help help spruce up a local trail or your local rail trail. Lots of ways to get involved as a volunteer. Some are more formal than others, but you can definitely find a role that will be perfect for you. Now I'm going to pass it back to Dana, who's going to do some volunteer program spotlights.
Thanks, Christina. So we are really lucky to have 3 wonderful volunteer organizations with us today that we will be interviewing about their projects. And the first group I want to introduce is the New River Gorge National Park. And this is really wonderful. We're so glad we get to interview them because it just became a national park. And we're going to be speaking with Adrienne Jenkins today. She loves the New River Gorge National Park. She told me that she's been with them for over 20 years, and she is their volunteer coordinator. So if you're curious about how to volunteer in the New River Gorge National Park, Adrienne's going to tell us just a little bit about it. So Adrienne, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. It's so great to see you. And Adrienne, one of our favorite things about West Virginia is how beautiful it is. What do you think makes the New River Gorge so beautiful and special?
I think the question is, what doesn't make it special and beautiful? You know, there's so many things about New River Gorge, and New River Gorge became a national river first in 1978. So it was actually preserved and protected, the river itself and the land around it. So just recently, like December or so, we became a national park and preserve. We're not only a national park, but we're also a preserve as well. So of course, the beauty, of course, the river is exceptionally special. It flows north from North Carolina coming into the New River or into the Gorge area, into West Virginia. But we are not the typical national park. We are not like Yellowstone, just known for its vast nature, or a historic park. We have both of those things. We have the nature, the beauty, and the history here in the Gorge. We're well known for our railroading, coal mining, and timbering history. And of course, all of our people stories here in the Gorge. And then of course, all of the beautiful sights and the New River Gorge Bridge, which happens to just connect the park here. So, you know, you get all kinds of things when you come to our national park.
Wow. So I read once that the New River is one of the oldest rivers in the world. Is that true?
It is one of the oldest. People, you hear all kinds of things. People say it is the oldest. Of course, there's the rival with the Nile River being the oldest. But yeah, we like to say that it is one of the oldest because all of the geology really points to that being a true statement, that it is one of the oldest.
Wow. I love that. That is so special that we have one of the oldest rivers in our state.
Absolutely.
And you've totally sold me on New River Gorge. So how do volunteers help out there?
So volunteers can help in the national park in many different ways. We have volunteers that work in our visitor centers that help our park rangers staff those visitor centers, give out directions and information to people. And we have different divisions within the park. So the staff that runs the visitor centers, they're called the interpretive park rangers. That means they interpret the park for visitors. Then we have our maintenance division, resource management, cultural resources. We have a fire division. We also have law enforcement. So there are a plethora of ways that you can volunteer with all of those different divisions within the park and learn something about the park, but also help to preserve and protect the park and offer service doing that. So there are so many different ways that I could list for you, but we do have over 100 miles of trails within the park. So we don't necessarily build a lot of new trails right now, but we do need help maintaining those trails. So we always also have people always people are out doing that, of course. Again, staffing our visitor centers, water quality testing with resource management. There's so many opportunities, invasive species pools. Yeah, there's all kinds of things we can do.
Wow. So what I love about volunteering in the park is that it can be as simple as picking up a piece of trash, or it can be long term. So what is kind of the time commitment that volunteers can make when they volunteer in the park?
So there's probably really two answers to that. There's really no time commitment, but there's also a time commitment if you are doing a specific event or position or so forth. So it really depends on what you would like to offer up, what your service would like, what you would like your service to be, and what kind of positions we have or opportunities we have or need a need for. For example, with our visitor centers, we do have some RV positions that people who just spend their time going around to national parks and volunteering, they drive their RVs, they come in. And if you were doing something like that, you would have a time commitment. Like you would have to offer up 32 hours of service to get an RV spot in the park. If you're just coming to help with a cleanup or help on trails, there's no time commitment. If you've got 2 hours to do that, or if you've got 8 hours to do that, you can do that as well. So
I love that you have both options. Are there a lot of people that travel to West Virginia to volunteer in the park and then they stay there for an extended time period?
there are. So really we have several positions to do that, and a lot of times it's couples that come in and do that together. So in the park we have 4 different visitor centers that we have to staff, along with the actual national park staff. We have volunteers in all of those facilities normally. So yeah, there's quite a few, at least 8 of those positions.
Wow. So that would be great for people who are retired, right? They could hop from park to park and travel and work in the visitor center.
And there are lots of people that do that all over the country.
So for those of you all who are getting ready to retire, write that note down. It's a great way to travel and see the country and help out. So Adrienne, do you have a favorite volunteer story?
You know, there are so many that I could tell you about, but one that I really have to highlight just because I can't thank them enough is during the government shutdown in 2019, we were closed for almost a month. And we had some specific volunteers that actually went around throughout the park and collected trash and made sure the park was clean the entire time. So after we were back in the office, we set up a whole big ice cream social for them just to say thank you. But because we were not working, we couldn't count their hours. We couldn't do anything super special, but we wanted to make sure we thanked them. So that was a really special opportunity for us to put those volunteers in the spotlight and say thank you for what a phenomenal job they did. And it was fantastic.
Wow, that's remarkable. I feel like the park couldn't be possible without the help of volunteers.
Absolutely not. We've got 74,000 acres plus. We can't take care of all of it by ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. So if there's someone on the call today who's interested in volunteering in the park or visiting the park and volunteering, what advice would you give them and how can they get connected?
Definitely check our website. My information is there. Check our Facebook page. We have an Instagram page where we're posting things. You can call me directly. The thing about volunteering with us is sometimes it takes a little time to get that project together, especially once we know who's doing it or would like to do it. But once we can get all of the pieces put together, we are more than happy to have you. So please contact me anytime via our website. We do post on Facebook pretty often, but yeah, you can come into the visitor centers and do that as well. So we would love to have you.
Well, thank you, Adrienne. I had so much fun chatting with you today, and thank you for everything you're doing at New River Gorge National Park and Preserve.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Christina pulled up the slide here. They have a really great website with descriptions for all their volunteer opportunities. And Christine will be sending out these slides after the presentation. So if you're interested, you can get connected that way. All right, so I'm really happy to introduce our second panelist with West Virginia Adopt a Highway. This is like one of the classic volunteer opportunities that you can do wherever you're at in the state. So I'm really happy that Kim is joining us today, and she's going to share a little bit more about this program. And just to introduce Kim, she has been with Adopt a Highway for 5 years, and she's an AmeriCorps alumni. She was actually in the first class of AmeriCorps members, and she's continued to help the state by serving as the volunteer coordinator at Adopt a Highway. So Kim, are you there?
There we go. I had to unmute myself.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here today.
I'm glad to be here.
So Kim, what we love about Adopt a Highway is that you have over 4,000 volunteers in all 55 counties, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
What do you think keeps volunteers coming to your program?
I think they get a lot of pride out of cleaning their state, making sure that it's beautiful, and they can look on their road and say, you know, I did that. I helped keep that road clean, and I've helped keep West Virginia clean. And I think they take a lot of pride in that. And our state is so beautiful that they want to help make sure we stay beautiful.
Yeah, totally. And it's really interesting because Adopt a Highway is a great program for groups. So I'm sure you have a lot of groups that help out with it. So what kind of organizations help with Adopt a Highway?
We have all kinds of groups. We have individuals that come and join, they have daily walks that they go on, and they use their litter getter and their trash bags and clean up every day. We have large groups, everything from churches to Lions clubs to community outreach programs to schools to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts groups. And it's, you know, any group. We have community volunteers that just get their neighborhood together and say, hey, we want to clean up our neighborhood. And so we do that. So, I mean, we have volunteers from every range of society here in West Virginia.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about your program, because it seems like almost anyone could get involved in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's almost like they become family, right? Because you were telling me about a volunteer recognition picnic you're planning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how many people are coming to that?
We expect about 300 to 350 people come. We're having it at Tamarack this year. Anybody who is an Adopt a Highway volunteer can come join our event. We have games, and we serve a big meal, and we just entertain them and thank them for all the hard work that they put in every year. And we give away awards, Volunteer of the Year, and you know, who's cleaned up the most litter, and who's been with us, you know, the longest, and so forth. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff that we do at the event.
I love that. It really is like you're a tight-knit group, and you find a sense of community, and then you're able to clean up West Virginia, which seems so perfect. So how do you get involved? What is it typically like? What's the training like if someone's interested in becoming?
Well, if you're interested, all you have to do is go to the DEP website and go on the Adopt a Highway page, and you can fill out an application. It can take maybe a month to get the application approved, because we work with DOH. DOH has to approve the road. The road has to be a state maintained road through DOH. And so DOH will approve the road and get it back to me. And then you get a welcome packet, and there's a couple of videos that you need to watch, how to be safe on the road. We have signs that you can put up, say litter cleanup ahead, like the picture that you showed. And so people can get up and volunteer. So it's pretty easy to do. You just have to, you know, send in the application. You can call me direct. You can call our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-322-5530. And you can call that way, and we can set you up.
So with over 4,000 volunteers, I bet you have all kinds of really cool stories. Do you have a favorite story from Adopt a Highway?
Well, I have a couple favorites. I couldn't decide between the two. The last picnic, the last big appreciation event that we had was our 30th year. So we've been, Adopt a Highway's been around for 30 years here in West Virginia. And we've had groups with us that have been around for 30 years. And we had one in particular member who won the Volunteer of the Year. He had been with his group, Santa Clara Community. He had been with his group from the very beginning, and he's now in his late 70s, early 80s, and he still participates in every cleanup and still is out there every time they do a cleanup, making sure that the volunteers are taken care of and everything's done properly. And so that was just amazing for me to see that somebody had been involved and volunteered for 30 years. And I've got another volunteer that started his own Facebook page, West Virginia Litter Getter, and he now does volunteers. He gets groups going to volunteer pickups and cleanups all over the state. And so that's pretty incredible. He's now got 2 adoptions of his own and I've gotten about 10 applications from people that follow his website. So I'm pretty impressed with that. So we've got volunteers out there that are really passionate about what they do.
30 years is amazing. And it's just a testament to how wonderful your program is. And it's really a staple in the state. And I don't know why, but picking up litter just feels so good.
Yeah. I can't, I'm like notorious for it. I go anywhere and I've got my litter getter in a bag in my car and I clean up wherever I'm at.
It's such an easy way.
Myself.
Yeah. It's a good way to take a bad situation and make it better. So instead of feeling negative because there's a bunch of litter on the ground, you have the power to clean it up.
And it's nice because the groups get a nice sign that they can put the name of their group on there, and or a lot of businesses will put their name up there. Some people just put "please do not litter," so you get a nice sign up there to get some recognition that you're volunteering and doing your part. So it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. And this question's random, it's not on the list. But Kim, do people ever find money in like fun things when they're cleaning up litter?
I've never, tires is what people find the most. Tires, there's lots of tires out there. Nobody's ever told me that they have found money or anything. I know that they do find, weird stuff out there, a toilet, kitchen sink. And so sometimes they find, weird trash, but definitely I would like to know if they found money. That would be pretty interesting.
I hope they find some money. Carrie said in the chat box she was wondering the same thing. Yeah. So maybe that's why I asked the question.
There's a boat in the middle of the woods. I don't know how to get that out there either.
Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything else you want to share about Adopt a Highway?
Well, somebody found $32. That's awesome. Well, it's just a great way to participate in your community. And I would encourage anybody who does any kind of cleanup or to volunteer with us, because we provide all of your litter getters, your gloves, your bags, your trash hauling, and it's free. So you don't have to pay for anything. And we provide all the supplies that you need.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kim. So if you're a business or a civic group or a church and you feel inspired to adopt a highway, be sure to reach out to Kim. And it's been really nice meeting you, Kim.
Thank you. It's been nice to be here.
All right, so we have one more wonderful guest with us today, and this is with a really cool program based out of Beckley, but it also serves the entire nation. They have different branches, and we have April joining us today with Conservation Legacy. She has been involved in national service for over 13 years. She's also a board member here at Volunteer West Virginia, and she recently became the president of the Beckley Rotary Club. And April is just a wonderful person to meet and know. So we're really lucky to have her on today's webinar.
Well, thank you, Dana. It's great to be here.
So April, like I mentioned, you're just a champion for volunteering and national service. Can you tell us a little bit about Conservation Legacy and why it's so special?
Sure. Conservation Legacy, as you mentioned earlier, is a national program, and I'm really proud to have one of their offices based here in Southern West Virginia. Our program focuses on local impact, where we engage youth, young adults, and veterans in conservation and service programs. We have 15 different locations across the country. And we believe in putting ourselves in our communities to meet the on-the-ground need of what those organizations need, centered and focused around conservation.
Awesome. And I know one of the programs you recently launched that you're really excited about is a Youth Corps program, which is amazing news for West Virginia, because when you volunteer when you're young, it just sets the precedence of your whole life. So can you tell us a little bit about that program and how it got started?
Sure. So we ended up with a partnership with the city of Beckley and the Coal Heritage Highway Authority to launch our very first inaugural Youth Conservation Corps, a YCC program. And what we're doing is we are engaging kids that are in the local area. Beckley, the Raleigh County proper area this year, and we're putting them together in a team. And they are with crew leaders, and we're introducing them into the world of conservation. So they're out working on, they're building a new trail at the soccer field here at the YMCA soccer complex. So we're teaching them the tools and how to build a trail and how to take care of it. They're doing invasive species removal over at the Beckley Exhibition Coal Mine. But when they're together, they're learning teamwork and skills and just things, skills around the nature, around conservation service. We're bringing them back and we're teaching them just other interpersonal skills, communication, and some other life skills, budgeting, and those sorts of things. So we're really excited to be able to launch that this year. We've got a lot of energy and excitement around it, and we're looking forward to growing it this year. And one of the most special things about this is, and Adrian had mentioned earlier, we're all proud to have the New River Gorge in our backyard. In the first class of members that we had, we took them on a hike and we took them to Long Point, and they'd never been there. They had never been there, nor had they been able to see the bridge. And so it was just an absolute thrill for us to be able to take them out and appreciate and explore their backyard and understand the work that we do in conservation service.
Wow, that story gave me goosebumps. I think like it's so important when you take young people out and you show them what's in the state. We're always trying to get young people not to leave, but I think a big part of it is educating them on why West Virginia is so special and remarkable, and not just talking about negative stuff all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our hope with this YCC program is that they will go into our young adult crew program, which is 18 to 24, and then can move on into our program, but also think about careers in conservation, because that isn't a space in West Virginia that we have promoted as an industry until most recently, around like tourism and conservation service. And so we really want to be able to embed that idea into them and to think about different opportunities for them in their career.
Wow. Are they really surprised when they enter your program, just everything that's here?
They are. They're very surprised, and just the work that it takes to build a trail, for example, and just the spaces of that interaction and the activity. They were busting up rocks, and they came back and they kept talking about how cool it was to be able to do that work. And so we're hoping, and when we finished up that class, this first class last week, we reminded them that future, when they're coming out to hike at the soccer complex, they can take their kids or maybe their grandkids to say like, I helped build that. That's really special to me. And that's what we're hoping to be able to create as generational conservationists.
Yeah, that's something that'll last a lifetime, and it'll become a legacy.
I hope so.
Oh, that's remarkable. Just connected the dots in your name, April. Came full circle there. So I know you have some other really cool projects in the Beckley area and beyond. Can you share a little bit about those?
Sure. So we're going to grow this YCC program. We are piloting right now some environmental education, and we're hoping to be able to do some of these with after-school programs here in the area. So that's still in development. But in the future, what we're looking to do is partnering with folks here in the city of Beckley to do National Day of Remembrance, which is on September 11th, as many of us know. And for those of you who may not be aware, the city of Beckley has a piece of the Twin Tower as a monument here. And so I can't even remember how long we've been doing it, but for a very long time, we've been having a service there to just take a moment of silence and to remember that day in our history where our lives changed. And so our office takes the lead role in organizing that. And then we honor first responders during that opportunity in conjunction with the Beckley Rotary Club. The other thing that we're working on is National Public Lands Day. And so we are in general conversations with some folks there at New River Gorge to figure out what we can do to have folks to come out and do some opportunities there at the Gorge. The other things we're doing, we have a young adult crew, and then in the fall, we have an all-women's saw crew coming to do some work. So we're really excited about that, and that's supported by the National Park Foundation. And so we'll let you know when that's happening, and we always welcome folks to come and volunteer with any of our crews at any time.
That's awesome. So if there's anyone who wants to visit Beckley or any AmeriCorps members that have a 9/11 day of service, I'm sure April would love your help.
Absolutely.
And multiple ways to help. And I love the all-women saw crew.
Me too.
If you want to feel tough, chainsaw a tree.
Get my certification.
Is that open for anyone, or how does that work?
The saw crew, I think they're going to be recruiting for those relatively soon, and I think those will be pretty specialized, but there could be an opportunity for folks to come and learn more about that. So,
awesome.
Yeah, cool.
So why do you think volunteerism is so important, and what impact does it have on youth and adults alike?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. And Dana, I subscribe to the fact that we all have access to the 3 T's: time, talent, and treasure. Each of us have the opportunity to give one of those or all 3 of those things. And that's what's important, whether I'm able to give of my time or something that is really special to me, that's where it is for volunteering. And so any of us can find a space to volunteer through those 3 T's. And for me, that's what I do. Like, I volunteer lots of different spaces, and it just is so rewarding. And what it means for youth and just for people in general is that it's a very positive opportunity. It's a positive experience. It can help you feel good, meet new people, to take some pride in what you're doing in that space. And at the end of the day, it's good for mental health. You're able to just get out and just do something really different. And you're part of a change that's important to you. And so that's why volunteering is important to me.
So many great points there, April. And I love that you mentioned mental health. Especially coming off of a global pandemic, I think it's so important, and just doing one thing can change your outlook on the world and how you feel about where you're living. So I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah,
it's pretty remarkable. And even if you don't feel like you have the time to volunteer, maybe this call today will inspire you to do one thing this year, even if it's as simple as picking up some garbage on your next walk in your park or your state park. So April, do you have anything else you'd like to share before you sign off today?
I do not. If you're ever in Beckley, let me know. We'll be happy to host you and do something with you. We've got all kinds of projects or opportunities, so come and visit.
Awesome. Thank you, April. And April has lots of really good AmeriCorps Vista positions, so be on the lookout for Conservation Legacy. And thanks for being such an inspiration and just a great person.
Thanks, Dana.
So we hope you enjoyed our panelists today. I really had a great time speaking with them, and they've inspired you to volunteer. And there's some really nice comments in the chat if you all haven't gotten the chance to check it out. And to close out our time together today, we have a really cool topic that we wanted to share. And this was Chloe and Mackenzie's idea, is to promote some volunteer opportunities where you get to travel. So you might not know that you can travel around the country for free as a volunteer. So Chloe and Mackenzie are going to share just a few ways that you can pack your bags and volunteer. So Mackenzie, do you want to share a little bit about AmeriCorps and CCC?
Yeah, sure. So AmeriCorps ICCC is one of my favorite AmeriCorps programs that I've learned about this summer. You apply and then they send you, for our region, it's in Missouri, I believe. And you go for a few weeks and you train, and then they send you off with a group, you meet a group of people, and you go around your region to different states and work on different projects with them. So it's free, and it's just a really great way to travel around. You're gonna, after you're finished, you're gonna receive an education award, which can go to any type of education, like community college, trade school, anything you want. So I think that one is a really awesome opportunity. And then we all know the American Red Cross. It's also a really great way to travel because you can get deployed. You can sign up and you have to be trained. And then you can get deployed to disaster centers where they need help with disaster relief. And it's a really, really great way to make an impact. And then you also get to like move around, see different places, meet new people.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys about the Peace Corps. It's kind of like AmeriCorps, but you get to travel the world, which is really great. This is great for people who want to travel and get to experience the world by helping the communities. You serve for about 2 years, but there's also 3 months training that you must go through. The volunteers have to be at least 18 years and ready to depart in 9 to 12 months. It's perfect for college grad, retirees, as anyone who's kind of like feels like they may be stuck in life, but also wants to travel. This is the perfect opportunity to do so. If you're kind of scared about where you might end up at, they have people to help you with that. So like they will help you put you in a good place that we will fit well into that, depending on your skills. Next up is the Global Service Corps. The only problem with this one is it's different from the other 4 by the fact that you have to pay to travel and lodge. But you can use your AmeriCorps Education Award to go towards this. It's also a way to volunteer around the world. Volunteer positions are available in Cambodia, and you can, the programs include Buddhist immersion, teaching English, and child and orphan care. Like I said, it's the one you have to pay for, but it's also a great experience. And you can click the link below to learn more about it.
Awesome. So thanks, Chloe and Mackenzie. It's really cool. You might have never considered that you can volunteer and travel. So you can travel in West Virginia and volunteer outside, or you can travel across the globe. So just to close this out, if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat box or just any thoughts. There's some really nice comments. Erica Grimm said, thanks for inspiring us. And then Chloe said, thanks to all the speakers. So I feel like this hour was really inspirational, and we hope you all had as much fun as we did. So before you sign out today, be sure to complete the feedback survey. It'll take you about 2 minutes. Christina has pasted that link in the chat box. And then register for our upcoming webinar. We love to get together on Wednesdays and have fun and network, and then follow us on social media. So that is all I have. We have some really nice comments in the chat. And Christina, do you want to share anything before we sign off today?
The only thing I want to mention is we will be posting the recording of this webinar to YouTube. You'll receive that link with the slides and our notes after we are finished today. So if you know anyone who would really appreciate all this information about getting outside to volunteer, feel free to share it with them. We want to spread the word as much as possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. And we'll leave up the slide for about 1 more minute. And just again, I want to thank Adrian, Kim, and April. Thank you for being our panelists today. And thank you for being so wonderful. And we really appreciate you all taking time out of your day for this webinar. So have a good week and a good weekend.
Bye, everybody. See you August for trivia.